heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Before I start, if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. This is the way.
Hey folks, what's going on? Yeah, a bit of a random one today. I wasn't planning on doing this as just a spare of the moment sort of thing. I just thought, oh, you know what? I've got the day off. I've had the week off, and I've spent a fair bit of time in my room here. It's been really good actually, expanding and rearranging and getting some stuff done. But yeah, with D23 obviously being on at the moment, we've just had a drop of the Skeleton Crew trailer, so I thought I'd jump through and have a little bit of a look at it in a moment. And I also just saw a little leaked bit of footage they did a bit of a teaser for the Mandalorian and Grogu film coming out in May 2026. So I'll keep that one to myself. I'll keep that one within the messages of the community. And yeah, we don't need to see that one in public just yet. That one's just gonna just do its thing, I think. G'day, Paul. How are you, mate? It's good to hear from you. And Blake's here too. How are you, gentlemen? So yeah, obviously some cool stuff happening. D23, Disney's own sort of little Comic-Con, I guess, where they sort of showcase all their new bits and pieces. And I don't know, I've watched the trailer for Skeleton Crew a couple of times now, and I'm looking forward to it. It's still a few months away, but that'll December. That's like 25 minutes away, really. The way this year's going, yeah, it'll be here before we know it. But it looks good. It looks like a lot of fun. A little bit more, maybe a little bit more lighthearted. Kids' adventure. Thinking of the Goonies, I think is the sort of the parallel that most people are taking into this, which is cool. I know of the Goonies. I'm afraid, as a child born in 1987, I actually haven't watched the Goonies, so that might be a little job for me. You know what? Like, it was only 5 years ago I watched Ghostbusters 1 for the first time. Yeah, there's a few things I've missed over the years, but it's because I was too busy watching Star Wars over and over again. Ian's here too. Hey, Ian, how are you, mate? Good to hear from you. I'm doing good, Blake. I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. Just a nice, relaxing day off. I got out and did some yard work this morning. It's 2:00 in the afternoon on Saturday for those everywhere else. Yeah, got out and did the lawns, and yeah, did a little bit of housework. I've been working on my Mando costume most of the week, doing bits and pieces, starting to come together, which is exciting. Getting some boots and gloves and starting on belts and all those sort of extra bits. But yeah, this is pretty good. If you watch Princess Bride, then you should pause the live stream until you've watched all these ones. Princess Bride, I think I have seen. It would be a long time ago, I'll be honest. But yeah, that might be a rewatch. Oh, thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's just the Black Series Mando one. It's I've just repainted it myself just to go with my suit of armor. And sort of just doing my own sort of take on a like a covert Mando, like you sort of see in the background of the Mandalorian. So yeah, sort of, he's been scratched by something. He's had a beast come and scratch the back of his helmet and clawed across and just. So it was fun to do, and it would be nice to have the costume completely done and get out in public and do some fun stuff with it. Stunning day here in Perth. Always a little bit warmer over in Perth. I've never been, but yeah, it sounds like it's always a little bit warmer. Yeah, nice over here in Adelaide today. So, Princess Bride is my most favorite movie. So I've seen it several times on Blu-ray. Nice paint job. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate that. It's yeah, I'm pretty proud of my efforts. It was like a first go at doing something like that, and yeah, I was pretty happy with it. So, what do you say we do a trailer watch, and then maybe we can sort of maybe just skim through a few parts and see what we can see. So yeah, I won't be able to see the chat for a moment unless I just press play and then switch back over.
Tomorrow's
That's
test
okay. It's all right.
will set the course of your entire future.
I'm watching.
Don't you ever want to do anything exciting? Like what? What if we could go anywhere we want in the whole galaxy? A real adventure. No more pretend. I found something buried in the woods. What do you think it is? I think it's a lost
This is going to
Jedi
be a
temple.
good show to watch with them, I think.
Hello? Be careful where you step. We're lost. Really lost.
It is dangerous out there in space. Trust no one.
You're a Jedi.
All right, yeah. Also, yeah, thanks for the little comment there, Ian. I didn't realize my sound wouldn't come through while that was playing. Hopefully you can hear me now. Says everything's working, but maybe it was just sort of drowned out by that video. So hopefully everyone can hear me now. Just drop a little comment so I know that I'm not. Yes, awesome. Yeah, so I was just sort of saying at the start of the trailer, it's kind of cool to see, like an area of a planet where it's just sort of, sort of simple residential urban living sort of thing. Like it's bound to be expected in some parts of the galaxy, isn't it? Maybe it's, maybe on the cusp, it's a little bit close to home, but I don't know. It's at the same time, it kind of works. Like it's, sort of, there's going to be those pockets of sort of, middle income sort of populations on some planets, whether it's like a planet like Alderaan or something where you have multiple different tiers of, it's going to happen all around the galaxy. You're going to have these different parts. I thought, in relation to what we sort of saw in Andor with, there's so many Star Wars characters' names now. What's his name? Going back to his mum, and she's basically in like, urban towers, like living within like, projects sort of related living, like apartment living. And then we sort of saw those buildings sort of repurposed in The Mandalorian for the Imperial. My brain's not working. So yeah, it's sort of it's going to go back to sort of this, basic sort of upbringing. It gives something that the kids that are watching this series to relate to. I also went on to sort of say, just before Ian pointed out they couldn't hear me. This is a good show, Cyril. That's the one. Thanks, Blake. can never think while I'm live. Yeah, sort of. If you've got children, I think this is going to be a good show to watch if you've got children. I think, this could inspire imagination in a lot of, maybe the 6 to 10, 6 to 11 audience, maybe the sort of that sort of young generation that could, that sort of see themselves in these roles of these kids. I could sort of see that happening, sort of being pulled out of their, everyday life, schooling environment, dreaming of bigger things like Luke Skywalker on Tatooine. But again, sort of being able to reach a younger audience. But I think, as I'm not a parent myself, but I have a nephew who's, you know, just over 3, and I have a newborn niece as well, which is awesome. I'm excited to see those kids grow up and, you know, play cool uncle. So any sort of paternal instincts I have sort of go into those kids. So being able to watch this through the eyes of, you know, something that maybe in a few years I can revisit with my nephew and niece and watch it with them and sort of see them, you know, watch a show that's sort of stylized and reminiscent of something from the 80s and 90s. The really important question is, can mini me Max Rebo play the piano? That is the question. That is the really important question. Hopefully we'll find out. The thing I worked out about Max Rebo is they've decided with that species they're sticking with the bipedal sort of look with the, you know, the 2 arms, the 2 legs. Whereas the concept, if you look back at the concept art for Max Rebo, he's literally just, he's playing the piano with his legs. He's sitting on his bum on a cushion. There's no legs. That was sort of creative liberty from Kenner making that action figure. So that's kind of cool that they've gone, well, you know what? He's going to have legs now. That's how it's going to be. Or whether he's a half and half, who knows? You know, whether they because yeah, if you go and look at some concept art for Max Rebo, yeah, he's literally just a head on a body and legs, and he's playing the piano with his legs. He's just bit like, you know, if Sebulba was playing the piano with his legs, but he doesn't have arms. Kind of. On Wikipedia said the story is between Mandalorian and Return of the Jedi. Nice. So we're sort of getting back into that. I thought we were getting back into that sort of Mandalorian related era. So there's like a, you know, there's a 6-7 year period there between Jedi and like season 1 of Mandalorian. So whether there's some cool little crossovers happening here, we'll see. Obviously the main crossover is that they're bringing in the pirate Vane from season 3 of the Mandalorian. I think that's been sort of well established that he was going to be a part of it. And yeah, like part of Gorian Shard's crew, whether, you know, we're going to see that pirate crew before Mandalorian, or whether this is like post Mando season 3, where Vane takes off in his speeder and, you know, maybe he recruits his own crew. Who knows? I think that's really cool. Good to see you too, Diablo Calling. Always great to hear from you. But yeah, I think, I don't know, my thoughts after the Acolyte, while I enjoyed it, I honestly thought it would probably be a little bit more beneficial for them to jump back into Andor season 2 before doing the Skeleton Crew. I thought maybe something new might be a little bit jarring for some fans to go from new project to new project rather than go new project and then back into something familiar like Andor season 2. But maybe, you know, the lighthearted sort of childlike aspect, this very, you know, they've advertised this, they've sort of stated this is going to be very sort of Amblin-esque, like Amblin films from the 80s and 90s. You know, it's going to be very much along that sort of demographic. So maybe something a little bit more lighthearted will be good to sort of, you know, maybe ease people off a little bit, the sort of the deeper, heavier sort of story. You know, Acolyte was pretty heavy, sort of, you know, it was murder investigation. It was, you know, looking at things in different lights. It was looking at the Jedi as, you know, not bad guys, but, you know, flawed beings. So it's time to bring back, there was nothing in the Acolyte that really ended up with hope or, I think Star Wars needs that sort of air of hope and imagination. And I feel like this is going to bring that back for a lot of people. So I hope this is, I think they've thought about it, obviously, that, yeah, I think this is going to be a good move. Like having a little bit of a visual sense for it now, aside from those sort of leaked photos. And there was a few photos released through People magazine last week. You know, sort of get a bit of a vibe for what it looks like. And, you know, John Watts, he's done some good stuff in the past. So I think he knows what he's doing. You know, executive produced by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, having those guys on board. You know, obviously Filoni's on board with everything now, but having Favreau up there too, they've got that clout. You know, those guys have got clout, and you know, I think for the most part, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, they're a pair of names that people can take positive steps into the next project with. It's not going to be for everyone. I don't think everyone's going to love this thing. It's not its intention. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's fine. But again, this is about capturing the next generation of Star Wars fans. This is about grabbing the kids that are, you know, 7, 6, 5, 5 years old, maybe to 12, 5 to 12. So, you know, 6, 7 years worth of kids there that, you know, are going to grow up with this show, and, you know, potential follow-up seasons and sequels and building on that universe. And, you know, that's another generation of kids that's going to grip onto Star Wars and, you know, hopefully continue the beast that is. Because let's face it, it's not the 50, 60-year-olds that are going to keep Star Wars going for another 50, 60 years. I think they need to go something with more humor and wider appeal. Yeah, I'm thinking the same there, Ian. I think, yeah, I'm with you on that point. Just, yeah, a little bit more lighthearted adventure, something to inspire a little bit of hope and imagination. I think that's super important. Yeah, like pretty much what I was saying before, like in regards to the Acolyte. Like, I loved it, but yeah, it wasn't overly hopeful or inspiring, you know, good feelings. It's what it was. It is what it was. Like, it's meant to be what it is. It's meant to be a little bit of a cynical edge, a little bit jaded, maybe a little bit more Empire Strikes Back than A New Hope or Return of the Jedi. But yeah, there's time and place for those kind of projects. And yeah, before you sort of start getting into the depth of politics and underground rebellions of Andor, maybe we're going to get this sort of fresh look at, you know, young, youthful optimism. I think it's going to be good. The vocal corner of the fandom always, yeah, exactly right. They will, Ian. There's no doubt about. And you know, it's fine. You know, everyone's allowed to feel the way they want to feel, and yeah, it each their own. But you know, it's a case of me personally. It's kind of like, well, I'm just going to ignore that. I've tried my hardest to ignore all the negative crap, and it's just, you know, I don't feel like it's worth wasting my time on, because I ended up getting worked up myself, because it's you know, it can be a little bit frustrating. So the trailer looks awesome. Star Wars in the burbs. Yeah, I was saying to someone before, I was like, I'd really love to wake up one morning, cup of coffee, look out the window and see an Ithorian walking a space dog down my street. I've seen some other interesting characters walking down the street, but yeah, not an Ithorian, but I want to see that. The show, people can't be negative because kids in the show. Personally, can't wait. You know what? You know, people are going to be negative. Like, it's just the way people are these days. I think people have always been that way, but everyone has a vocal platform now in 2024. And as long as these child actors behind the scenes are being looked after, and, you know, are having these sort of negative reactions sort of filtered, so we don't need these kids becoming, you know, jaded, cynical at their age. You know, they need to be cared for. And, you know, look at the kids from Stranger Things. Like, they've grown up in enormously positive atmospheres. And that sort of needs to be embraced. And, you know, times past, you know, Jake Lloyd, for example, you know, he probably copped a fair bit of, or he copped a horrendous amount of unbridled, you know, stupid hatred, which was just ridiculous because the kid was like 8 or 9 when he was filming Phantom Menace. It didn't deserve it. But I don't know. Let's bring up the video again. Just want to sort of scrub through a few bits.
Tomorrow's test. We'll
So I don't know if you can hear me now. Hoping you can. Hoping you can hear me as I'm talking. Try and just bring this into a separate little window here. There we go. Now I can sort of see the chat. Yeah, let me know if you can hear me while I'm sort of just scrubbing through. So yeah, we've got the big old classroom, droid teachers. I'll sort of go back to the school bus.
Tomorrow's test
And get a
will set the course of your entire future.
I wish my teachers, like in high school or school in general, wore capes. Look at this little alien head.
Don't you ever
Speeder bikes. That is awesome.
want to do
Like little kids speeder bikes.
anything exciting? Like what?
All right, we're going to take a look at this little guy. Yeah. Like, come on. That's cute. That's cute.
What? What if we could go anywhere we want in the
Is it a Thorian walking a dog? Definitely not enough capes in the world. Look, Larry David tried. Larry David tried to bring back capes. Trashing Star Wars is a legit genre now. So many YouTubers grifting off it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And there's literally just channels of people just bagging on it, and they're making a living out of doing that. And you try to be a positive beacon. Like I try my best to be a positive outlook, and on Star Wars on YouTube and Instagram, and I try to be a positive light, but you just can't. Negativity. It's a big pit of crap. And it's just, I'd rather just stay out of it. It's fine. Never saw an issue with Jake Lloyd. No, me neither. I thought the kid did a good job.
whole galaxy.
I was looking at the sort of the streetscape there, the housing. It's urban neighborhood. Like the cars there are on tracks, so no one's going to go off and crash into a fence or anything.
Real adventure.
So I'm wondering whether this is a little video game, in-universe video game, like a Jedi fighting it looks to be a Rancor, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's some kind of beast. Whether it's a video game or like a cartoon, like a kid's show they're watching on TV.
Sure. No more pretend. I found something buried in the woods.
That's a nice shot there, the sort of sun creeping through the trees.
I think it is. I think it's a lost Jedi temple.
Yeah, I think that's this kid going to Lost Jedi Temple. It's definitely like it's definitely got that vibe of like kids. These kids themselves have a pretty vivid imagination, and while it could be, it's like it looks maybe it's a crash ship. They've found a pod or something there. It's like, yep, this is we all made up stories as kids running around out in the we used to have like an old railway line near where I grew up, and we used to just go run around there and cause trouble. We weren't causing trouble. We were just playing games and had a strong imagination for what we found, and climbing trees and all that sort of fun.
Be careful where you step. Be careful where you step.
I'll take a walk in there. Go back a second. If you look just sort of below the doorway, I think there's you see. Hello. No, right there in the bottom there, above hello, there's a little mouse that runs by.
Be careful where you step.
Just those little things actually. So that is the title. That is the crew of the skeleton. He is the skeleton of the skeleton crew. I'm loving the look of this droid. Looks like he's going to be an acquaintance of the kids.
We're lost.
So this sort of whatever this is like a dockyard or a shipyard or something like that. Keeps telling me I'm going to watch the Moana 2 trailer.
Lost. Really lost.
And I just love stuff like this, you know, the little critters and the aliens. We've got Jawas. Got this sort of, yeah, see the Jawas. And this guy sort of looks, he reminds me of like the slave owner on the casino planet on Canto Bight. You know, I know it's not the same guy, but you know, he looks like a bit of a gruff brute.
Here in space.
That's wicked looking puppetry, that little owl. That looks fantastic. Yeah, there's the droid. He's got an eye missing. I think he looks really cool. They had him sort of set up at the at D23. I thought, it looks like me when I wake up after going to a concert. It just saw back, one eye's half shut.
No one.
There is the Shistavanen. I don't know how you pronounce it. They're the wolf dudes. That's the action figure that just missed out on the HasLab Cantina last month. Alio Shus. Same species. Back the wolf man. This is a giant monster. It's very sort of quick and blink and you'll miss it. By, which is cool. I wonder if it's that's going to be a little link to maybe Carson. And yeah, Jude Law. Speculated for a long time. He was indeed going to be a Jedi. So yeah, it's looking pretty cool, guys. I'm pretty excited. G'day, Jeff. I was getting visual novel vibes, but a game makes sense too. Gotcha. I'm sure they did say that Jude Law's character was force sensitive, but not a Jedi. They could have, of course, been lying, which much like Manny Jacinto did during the early Acolyte press. Possibly, yeah. You gotta cover some tracks before this sort of stuff gets out too much. Yeah, I mean, this show was originally meant to come out December last year, so this was meant to almost be a follow-up to Mando season 3. But because of the whole writers' strike, the Actors Guild, and all that kind of stuff, I believe, from what I understood, is that they wanted Jude Law out promoting this thing, and while he couldn't work during those strikes, they basically said, let's hold off, maybe do some tweaks throughout the year, and we'll get it out for Christmas next year. So I think it's a good move. I think, rather than just going as soon as it can put out, we'll put it out, make it available. Yeah, we're going to start seeing this the press sort of ramp up over the next couple of months. The trailer and a few images sort of do its thing. Scatter out probably through September, October, and then they'll start probably mid to late October. They'll start ramping up the press, like a press tour, like a month-long press tour before this thing goes live. And yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of Jude Law at the forefront of that, I think, hyping this thing up. Yeah, he's a big name. Jude Law is a good actor. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with the character. And I think what we found his name out was Jod. I can't remember. They were sort of leaked through that Lego set. The 80s adventure vibes, some cool aliens, cool critters, and cool droids has me excited. Yeah, me too, dude. Me too. Hopefully some slightly less priced Black Series figures for the kids. You know, they're a little bit small. They're a little bit smaller. So come on, Hasbro, like just knock those prices down a little bit for us. Yeah, same here, Ian. I do too. I already want TVC figures of the crew. Yeah, I hope we get them. I really do. I really hope we get some cool shit. Both Black Series and TVC. But I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with this show. It's I certainly got my imagination sort of running wild a little bit, which is always a nice thing at 36 years old, nearly closing in 37, is to still be able to have an imagination that still likes to get tickled every now and then. It's definitely a positive life thing if you can still encourage your imagination and find that escape in these stories that we all love. Because sometimes real life can sort of creep in and sort of pull you out of that happy spot. You tend to look at things through a real life sort of cynical edge sometimes, and it can dampen your experience on some things when you want to have that escape. So and I think it might be an idea for them to release toys in the Epic Hero line being more kid friendly, and the possibility of vehicles without a HasLab. That'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see how sort of iconic this ship becomes. I'm trying to think of what it was called. Again, like there's just so much Star Wars these days. It's so hard to commit everything to memory. Back when we used to just pour through the visual dictionaries of the OT and the prequels, my brain was just like, yep, sponge it all in. You can't do that anymore. It's too much, way too much to try and remember everything. Because sometimes I forget how to make the bed. Well, I never make the bed. What am I talking about? All right, folks. I'm probably going to wrap up now. It's been a nice 35 minutes. I appreciate you coming and having a little chat. Given that I didn't actually have any other videos planned for this week, it was nice opportunity. I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And quickly jump on and do a live. So I appreciate you all just jumping on and having a chat. They can fund most of the toys from the profits from plushies of Minimax Rebo. Yeah, just the ones I'm going to buy in. I will get one. Onyx Cinder. Yes, thanks, Blake. It was. That's the one. A cool name for a ship. It's a cool name for a ship. I can dig it. All right, folks. I appreciate you all coming and hanging out. Just a short one today, but yeah, I'll get some content out happening next week. I've got my Darth Vader hot toy from Kenobi that's sitting at work waiting for me to return next week. It's gonna be spicy. And I think I got a couple of maybe one or two Black Series figures. I'm not sure what's come in. The boss just sort of said there's some stuff here for you. I think hoping some cool shit. So yeah, we'll stay tuned. Thanks everyone, appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. We'll see you very soon. Till then, may the force be with you always.